So remember, hair thinning doesn't just happen randomly, just like acne doesn't just happen randomly. It's not like your body's waking up one day and being like, you know what, we're gonna get rid of the hair today.
People have to be careful because it's not the stress that you're undergoing at the moment. So our hair follicles, they're pretty sexy. Everybody, all of mine, they're my people because I really like my hair and it's thinning. I have to say, this is the number one thing I see with women is the undereating. Your body needs protein for the keratin production of not only your skin, but your hair follicles.
And what's interesting is it's oftentimes the people that say, oh, I eat really healthy. I eat really healthy. Yeah, you eat healthy. You're just not eating enough food. This is Keep It Clear. Real conversations about skin, acne, and women's health without the overwhelm. Because you deserve answers that actually make sense. Today's episode starts now. All right, Cris, what is one of those things that so many of our clients panic about? And I should say so many women panic about, because I have a lot of people in my DMs being like, oh my gosh, Kate, my hair, something is going on. I'm having chunks fall out in the shower. Like I'm shedding more than usual, like more than the usual amount of shed. So I think any time that we start to get hair loss and hair thinning, everybody is low-key panicking. So if this is for you, if you want to dig into all the things about hair loss, thinning, what's going on, and how we can be loving this up, this is the episode for you. Because Cris, this is something we see like all the time with our acne clients.
Acne, weight, acne, hair.
Oh, those, yes, absolutely.
Like BFFs. If we're panicking about one, we've got a sidekick somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, yeah, 100%.
And you want to know what? I shouldn't say just women panicking. Like, I know men that are like nervous, like especially now that I'm in my I don't want to say late 30s. I'm still like a mid-30 at 36. But my husband's turning 40 this year. So him and his friends, I know
wait
they're
a minute.
like,
wait a minute. If you're 36, you
I am
are actually,
mid-30.
How are you holding on to mid-30s? Like 35 is
mid-30s.
mid-30. It's
I'm
okay. You can come to the other
36.5.
side. You can come to the other side.
I'm good here. I think I'll stay here a little bit longer, but
I can't wait. We're going to turn 40. Everybody, we're going to publicize that for you.
I don't want to do it. But I know that even men, especially now, now that they're in their 30s, going into their 40s, they're worried about hair loss as well. This isn't just a women issue. Even though men, aren't typically as the ones caring about their appearance, they still do care about their hair loss.
I mean, anything aesthetic, right? Like men, it's like the testosterone, perhaps the zinc and stuff, their hormones change too. I mean, for our ladies, no, that's detrimental. It's a hard no, because it's just not part of society.
Yeah, I think people are used to men losing their hair as they get older. But one of what's funny is Frank, my husband, is literally my worst client I've ever had. Cannot remember to take a multivitamin to save this man's life.
Even if it's out.
Even if it's out on the counter beside his coffee, it is not happening. But if I mention, Frank, you need to do this because it's good for your hair, you better believe. Do you know how he does the red light on his head every single night? It's the only thing he actually does. Can't do anything else, but he'll red light his head every single night. He uses my mask, the chest plate that I have, and he just wraps it around his head.
I don't know. Is that even legal? Is that even legal? Why are we sharing? Why do we, Kate? I know we have to talk about hair, but I just don't understand why we have to share everything.
Well, because he's too cheap to buy the helmet.
No, but Steve uses my facial, my silicone facial cleanser. I'm like, honey, and then I saw him using my toothpaste the other day.
Oh, I know you were upset about that.
No, we don't do that. And I know we digress, but I'm just, for all the ladies out there that have to share stuff with their husband, you get it, right?
I do get it. I know. Yeah. Anyways, don't tell Frank I told you that story, but if it has to do with hair loss, he's going to be doing it.
So, I can see that for men.
Yeah,
I could see it.
I think they're also self-conscious about it, right? They just don't verbalize it quite like women do. But, I think because for so long society has been men don't need to care about that stuff. But I think they actually really do care.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
Yeah. So this episode can apply no matter who you are. So remember, hair thinning doesn't just happen randomly, just like acne doesn't just happen randomly. It's not like your body's waking up one day and being like, you want to know what? We're going to get rid of the hair today. Today's the day. We don't need it anymore.
Peace.
We're out of here. That's not what is going on. Hair loss, just like acne, is information. It's a signal. And the question now becomes, well, what is it signaling? What is the body trying to tell us?
I often I love location. So I always want to say, where is it coming from? Some people can full on pinpoint it, right? So like I had a friend over on the weekend. We were hitting some dance competitions because that's what we do. And she's like, I went to my hairdresser and I had a whole chunk. She goes, you have alopecia. And I was like, oh, dang. I'm like, okay, here's what you do. But she knows what I do and she totally loves it. So she's just like, okay, Cris, like I'm on it. So, I mean, yeah, there's location. There could be mineral insufficiency. There could obviously a stress load, right? You know, and then one little connector before we go into all of those, if you want to go into all of those, is with stress, people have to be careful because it's not the stress that you're undergoing at the moment. So our hair follicles, they're pretty sexy. Everybody, all of mine, they're my people because I really like my hair and it's thinning. So they all have like stress responders, cortisol responders on them. And when this happens, think about it. Oh, you don't need that. Oh, you don't need that, right? There's a lot going on. So just please, 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 adrenal signaling is one of the main communicators. It's not the only one. But again, we're talking like 2-3 months.
Yeah. So what's really interesting, a lot of people don't realize, is that the hair falling out today can actually be reflecting what was happening in the body 2 to 3 months ago. Because the hair has specific growth phases, right? It has a growth phase, transition phase, it has a resting phase, and then the stress can be actually really be pushing the hair to follow a little bit sooner. So when women are like, yeah, like my hair just started falling out, I always say, hey, like what's actually been happening in the last like 8 to 12, or sorry, what's been happening in the last like 8 to 12 weeks?
I thought you were going to say 12 months. I was like, okay, what is happening here?
No,
What did I not know?
Cris, I've only had half of my matcha today, so my brain isn't in tip-top shape quite yet. At least I haven't had a coffee as well. Like, that's a plus.
So here's the thing, too. You know when we notice it the most is fine. We're brushing our hair, and you put down the brush, and you see a clump, and you're like, oh. However, I will tell you, it's when you're in the shower, and that beautiful, warm, you know, you're just loving it. And those pores open up and you're just lathering with your natural shampoo, of course. And it rinses. And all of a sudden you feel this thing go right down your back, right down your legs. And then you look down, you're like, and then people stop washing their hair. I mean, regularly, like every day, which we don't need to anyways.
Yeah, I don't wash my hair. I have hair washing days in the week. It's not every day. Look at this thing. Like, this is ridiculous.
I washed my hair today.
So did I.
But I had to walk the dog, so I had to like blow dry it. So this is why it's like disheveled. Extra. So that's the thing, right? It's you start to notice it, and then you see the clumps, and then you're putting it onto the wall. Like I've had clients say, I put it on the wall and I monitor it, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it's true. It's that fear driven. The more that we, concentrate on the hair loss, the more that we're driving the adrenal signaling. And I know it's hard not to. So what do we do outside of that? If you just know it's coming down and you don't know where it's coming down from, that's one thing. Then I'm going to probably say overall, what's the stress? What's the stress in the last 2-3 months? But if we start to look at, say, the crown of the head or the temples, like these types of things, they start to pinpoint specific areas. So did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a client recently come in who had all of a sudden been dealing with alopecia, and hers was right on the back, like above the nape of the neck in the center of the head.
Well, the friend that I just told you, she had the crown, and that's why it's in my brain right this second.
I have another client who came in and it was all along the temples. She's like, it's like I'm going through that postpartum, but it just never stopped, and now I have like patches.
Okay, so this is the thing. This isn't just
this is the thing. No,
you know how
thing.
like sometimes like Cris gets in her own Cris head?
No, it's a thing. Let's talk about location.
Okay, so crown of the head. That's why it is, because I know my friend's lifestyle, right? This is more what I start to go stress, that physiological, that adrenal signaling, the circulation to the scalp, what's going on, right? However, I really like mineral and electrolyte balances, really, because that influences that cellular energy at this point. We can have hormonal shifts, right, that shorten the hair growth in the phase. However, she's menopause. It doesn't, and we think that because we're in a state that, our hormones don't shift. That's not correct, right? They can deplete more, these types of things. But the crown, let me just geeky for a little bit second. The crown is really energetically linked to the kidney system. What does that do? That governs that deep reserve, that growth and the regeneration. So if we have long periods of stress, we're going to have the exhaustion or aging, right? All of this can start to weaken that reserve and lead to that I was going to say like a gradual thinning. We shouldn't have just patches. Now, if we're getting patches and they're the size of like a dime or a nickel or something, yeah, we might want to get checked for what? Alopecia, right? Like, it's just, at the end of the day, hair at the crown often reflects, again, that long-term depletion rather than short-term. So that's what we want to look at. And then I really want you to go and just think about the kidneys as well. Kidneys are responsible for filtering blood. So where the temples actually, that's where we can kind of start to look at that blood nourishment and oxygen delivery for the follicles. This is what sometimes, honestly, iron, zinc, protein availability, temples. Now go back to your client's file and pull up her HMA. Do we have potential protein insufficiency or, you know what I mean? These types of things.
Not breaking the proteins down. So if we're not breaking our proteins down, we're not getting the minerals from the protein, is what Cris was trying to say in her geek language.
Yeah, I can't because it's in my head, right? So, however, temples, I automatically go digestive absorption and blood building capacity. Boom, boom. Not just that, but the liver, that's liver blood deficiency too. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the liver stores blood and nourishes the hair. So I think, what did I say to you one time? Is like, yeah, the liver, yeah, hair follicles and blood, and you're like, that's just disgusting.
Oh yeah, you worded it really weird though. You were like, hair is, I can't remember how you
hair is blood
worded
storage or something like that.
And I was like, whoa.
You're like, that's disgusting.
Terrible way of
starts
wording
looking
that.
at her hair. So when blood is insufficient or poorly circulated, so do we have cold hands and feet? Are we seeing acne, that we're seeing like pooling or coloration, redness, inflammation, these types of things? Hair, when it comes near the temples, often becomes like finer or recedes. And sometimes we can even see that with additional testosterone. So temple thinning, think nourishment rather than a scalp issue. Why I want people to come out of the scalp issues? Because sometimes it's just not a scalp issue.
Mm-hmm. It can be, but not always.
It's a terrain. What else? Do we, hairline? Like frontal hairline? So hormones, that's kind of what, sensitivity of the follicles. Again, stress. Or I like to call it like the stress chemistry. Why is the stress chemistry influencing the hair growth cycle? So can we get more circulation, inflammation at the follicle? Yes. We touch the top of our hair a lot. We're constantly moving it or changing it, right? But that's more liver energy or liver chi, the stagnation. And watch, because if people get dandruff, they'll get it up in here as well. And the same, I'm pointing like people can see me, but they can't see me.
Well, if they're watching on YouTube, they can see you. Yeah.
So, so watch in case in the dandruff again. So circulation, inflammation, stress, but again, that stagnation. So we want to get things moving. The other thing is emotional tension. Yeah, if we have emotional tension, then guess what? Really, that movement or the chi and the blood to the scalp, it's going to get what? It's going to get disrupted. So when the flow is restricted, follicles near the hairline, what are they going to do? Potentially weaken or shed, right? So front of the hair, stress as well. Big stress. Now these, of course, they can go more into depth. I'm just trying to overview.
Let's talk about, did you finish your locations? Do you have any more you want to talk about?
No, because, there's sides of the head and stuff like that, but it's really, what about the people, and this is more common, that diffuse thinning across the whole scalp?
Yeah, just general thinning of hair.
Digestion, my queens and kings. Nutrient absorption, gut inflammation, microbial imbalance, chronic stress affecting cellular energy production, hollow spleen.
Cris is getting excited.
I am so excited.
And just so you know, we decided on this topic about 5 minutes before we hit record.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is why it comes out in muffle, because I don't have anything, like, it was just a 5 minutes. This is just
usually
random
we're on the
stuff.
ball. Usually we have our topics planned out, but today we're like, you know what, let's do hair loss. We got a lot of, it's because I got a lot of questions about it lately, is why I'm like, I think we need to do an episode
And
on
listen,
it.
I've been going through it because I'm now going through peri. I've been going through it a little bit more, and there are other connections for me. So maybe I'll share if I have any, saliva left after this. But let me so the spleen system, it transforms food into that chi, that energy, and blood. So pretty big deal. Don't discount the spleen. So if this system really becomes weakened, we're looking at nourishment reaching that hair follicle. Is that declining, right? Is it disrupted? Even if somebody is eating all the appearance of healthy, we can still, because remember, it's nutrient absorption. So here, the thinning, if we're going to look at it as a whole, think assimilation rather than intake.
Okay, let's break that down for the people that don't do this for a living, Cris. What does assimilation mean?
It means your body's ability in order to take the nutrients, break them down, disperse them, and use them.
There we go.
I think so. Oh, wait, there's one more. Can I get really excited for a second?
I keep going. I'm going to have to sip on my matcha.
Because what about oily or inflamed scalp? I had a client last week. And now we have shedding.
Yes.
By client, it's my daughter. So
we get a lot, but to be honest, Cris, a lot of our clients have hair issues when they come in.
They do, because think about the nutrient distributions. So if you have oily, inflamed, right? I said to my girls, train your hair. If your hair is oily, we have to train it. So they're able now to get every other day. Before they weren't. And I'm like, okay, we don't need to take the sebum out, because then the body goes, I need to make more, right? Because there's other things going on. So in this case, I start to think, ooh, what inflammatory signal is hitting that scalp, right? So now I know there is a stress, but why is inflammation the cofactor? So right off the bat, two things, lymphatics and metabolic congestion. Diet is, for the lack of better for word, I can think of better for letter of words, but diet is yucky. But when, if somebody's eating contributes to that inflammatory load, you better believe the hair goes oily. Again, but if we look at the traditional Chinese medicine, this is why I like to use both concepts, because you see how we just start to symptom follow, right? But now we're looking for dampness accumulation, and dampness creates congestion in tissues. It can affect the scalp environment around the follicles. Not just that, dampness, acne. Hello, this is what I see most with acne clients. This and the overall shedding. So just remember, hair follicles, they thrive in clean, well-circulated scalp environment. And when metabolic congestion builds, follicles weaken. What does that mean in a non-geek version? It's we have to treat our body well. Nothing changes overnight. So it's not the things we do once in a while, it's the perpetual insults that constantly do that, right?
And I was going to say, I just wanted to touch on stress, because I think a lot of people, when they think of stress, they automatically think some crazy life event has happened. That's the only type of stress the body is going to respond to, and that's not true. Yes, it is one. Emotional stress is a stress. Mental stress. So, you had a breakup, a death in the family, a job loss, like all of those traditional stressful situations we deal with. But also the body gets stressed from illness. So from big sicknesses, from surgery, that is a stress on the body. Any type of trauma, you've been in car accidents, injured yourself. Under eating is a stressor on the body that a lot of people don't know about. Overtraining.
Massive.
Yeah, under eating is so important.
I have to say, this is the number one thing I see with women is the under-eating, your body needs protein for the keratin production of not only your skin, but your hair follicles.
And what's interesting is it's oftentimes the people that say, oh, I eat really healthy. I eat really healthy. Yeah, you eat healthy. You're just not eating enough food.
Yeah. And then what are you eating to assimilate it, right? To use it when we're in a chronic stress-like loop. These are the cofactors, and it's not one thing.
It's not. It's always a combination, because when we're looking at I know I really want to harp on this under eating because I think it's people don't realize they're even doing it because they're like, oh no, like I eat really healthy, you know, I eat organic foods, I eat fruits and vegetables, and like I don't eat gluten and dairy and sugar and everything. But often, and they're like, I don't really, like sometimes I'm hungry, sometimes I skip a meal, but generally like I eat enough food. We're like, but are you eating enough of the right foods? Are you eating enough of the proteins? Are you eating enough of the fibers? Are you getting variety and rotation in your day? Because if you're always eating the same foods over and over again and you're not eating enough protein for your body, because I think so often we've gotten this habit of I fill my plate up with the rice and the potatoes and the pasta and the carbohydrates and I have this tiny little piece of meat on the side or this protein on the side. Your body's not getting enough protein that it needs. So please do not rule out under eating, even if you eat healthy.
Even your veggies. So this brings up a very key point that's often missed. Mineral signaling with the hair density. Because hair follicles, they respond strongly to mineral signaling. Like we need minerals for our body, like the end. We have to get it from food, right? Minerals influence things like energy and hormone and circulation and pigment production. So if minerals start falling out of balance, follicles, they're going to shift prematurely, you know, into that resting phase, like all of these types of things. This is where we start to see that gradual thinning. So, you know, loss of that thick, lush hair, you know, change it even in hair texture. It kind of feels a little more straw-like. You know, if you put your hair between your fingers and just, you know, put it back and forth, what does it sound like? Does it sound like sandpaper, right? So this is where we want to start looking at electrolyte balance. So where's our sodium, potassium, right? Potentially our magnesium, like whatever we use for those electrical currents. Not only that, this is still chronic stress mineral depletion. So see how we're not talking about stress as in like we're running around like, you know, Elmo with his hands in the air. This is chronic stress mineral depletion. What does that mean? Not eating in variety and rotation, not eating for your body, skipping meals, proteins, fats, and fibers potentially aren't balanced. And this also, with all of the hair loss and stuff, if we have mineral signaling misfires, we're going to have impaired cellular energy. I always ask people that have hair loss, how's your energy? Because you're going to be going, uh-oh, wait, I have a link. You're probably listening going, oh, wait, that's me. So here's the thing. Hair in this pattern, when it's mineral signaling, becomes thinner before it actually starts falling out. So this is how you know. Eat more, please.
And also before we move on from stress, I do want to add in overtraining. Overtraining is also a stressor on the body. This is where exercise can become a stressor on the body. So making sure, you know, you're not doing HIIT classes 6-7 days a week and you're not, you know, running like cardio like crazy, like really be weaving in some of the mild and moderate. And I know this is really difficult for those because there are people out there that love their high intensity, like the marathon trainers. They're training for these like crazy competitions. They're like, I love spin class. I love HIIT class. I know you love it. And like, it feels like a stress relief, but it can actually be overstressing your body as well.
Yeah. So knowing when to do it, when not to do it, how to rest, these types of things. Not just that, but when we're in that chronic stress. So if we're doing HIIT and having long hours and working and, you know, we're trying and we constantly feel like we're trying to keep up, please go with caution because, again, those hair follicles are getting those signals. And stress is only, quote unquote, dangerous to the body if it's not played out. So if you had a really stressful day, you're waking up at 4, you're hitting the gym, you know, we don't have potentially enough protein, fats, and fibers because our meeting went later and then we had a back-to-back meeting. So, you know, we're just kind of shoveling stuff in. All of that compounds to the stress load. So again, when we say stress, it's not this, you know, you feel like every day is just a day you have to get through. It's the silent stresses that are there that are the compounder loads as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just the one stressor. It's the accumulation of all of these little mini stressors in your day. Okay, on from stress, let's talk about one that a lot of people know. The first thing that doctors will check is your iron. Mm-hmm. So if you go into the doctor and you're like, oh my gosh, doc, my hair's falling out, they're like, oh, let's just check your iron. So let's expand on this a little bit, Cris, because oftentimes when people go in to get their iron checked, What is the issue?
Well, we already know that potentially there's a circulation issue. What travels in the blood? What has to be circulated? Iron. So do we have a circulation issue? And do we have a copper imbalance? Do we not have the binding protein, the cerebral plasma, in order to travel that iron? Do we have enough stomach acid? Do we have too much calcium? Oh my, do you really want to open this box, Katie?
I might just go make that coffee I've been thinking about.
No. Speaking of hair loss, Katie.
Speaking.
How's yours? Is it still okay?
Actually, my hair, guys, I've had some health issues over the years, but my hair is the one thing I got going for me. That and my eyesight, I have perfect vision.
Yeah, you like to bring that up a lot.
I do a lot, as Cris wears her glasses. I remind that to everyone in my family who wears glasses. I have perfect vision.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, whether it's the calcium and potassium elevated, the calcium and sodium, whether the sodium and potassium's low, those are all stress factors, right? These are our electrolytes as well. But again, remember, if we have biounavailable calcium and it's circulating so it's out of the bones, it's circulating into the tissues, that potentially is enough just to throw that iron off as well. Minerals have a love-hate relationship. They love each other, they hate each other. There's nothing in between. I think people should be just a little bit more like this, right? It would take out the people-pleasing, yes?
Wouldn't
it? So it's these cofactors, right? So a lot of people are taking iron supplementation, or they're taking a CalMag, and potentially, just not supporting the body. And we need hydrochloric acid in our stomach and even to break down this little sucker, to utilize it.
Chris's bane of her existence is when somebody is supplementing with iron and they shouldn't be. Nothing makes her more upset.
I'm sweating now. Let's move
I know.
on.
It's do not bring up iron supplementation around her because she will throw down.
And I'm not saying that, I have, in all of my career, supported 2 people with iron because it was warranted through blood labs, through functional tests, through their history. My concern is why do we keep supplementing with iron? The body can help make it, produce it.
What is the reason why the body can't do this?
Yeah, we have the mechanisms, I shouldn't say to make iron, but do you know what I mean? Our body has the mechanisms in order to make things happen in our body. Why aren't we doing it? So my brain always goes to, that's cute. Let's backtrack.
Are we breaking our proteins down? Are we getting the iron from the food that we're eating? What is happening to our iron?
Calcium, copper, and manganese, you best believe if somebody is on iron supplementation and they're constantly my ferritin's low, I'm where's your iron storage? Sorry, that's your iron storage, but where's your iron? I want to see if you have iron. Why is the body utilizing it as storage? So now we potentially have a gut dysbiosis, or we have a chronic underlying infection, depending on where the blood labs, So this is why I don't love to leave iron. You have to get me off this birth control tangent.
Okay, let's keep going on. Next one I wanted to bring up was thyroid, so it's not like that's any better.
Oh yeah, you're just you know what you're doing. You're I'm the lion in the cage, and you're here's your steak. Just kidding.
Well, I was going to mention coming off birth control and hair thinning, but...
Okay, so thyroid, 100%. This is that cellular metabolic. Everything slows down when you have thyroid. And thyroid didn't start with just thyroid. I can almost promise you it started with compounded stress load, imbalance of your sodium, potassium, your electrolytes. This is, people that have when they were younger, a lot of pressures, growing up, it's all of these things. Maybe it's not being seen or heard. This is that compounding stress load, feeling different. A lot of people with thyroid always say, I felt a little different growing up. Different. Yeah, of course, because your thyroid wasn't working. Right? So, low zinc is very common with that. So, people with thyroid, their hair goes and their, but again, sides of the head. So this is what we're going to thinking about that. So no, this is everywhere.
And let's keep going on because we got a lot to get through still. Blood sugar and androgens. And androgens is a class of group of hormones say testosterone is in. And people don't realize that insulin, so our blood sugar, can actually drive this androgen activity. So maybe we're getting a little bit more sensitive to DHT. So maybe we're going to be seeing some thinning at the temples, some widening at the part. Maybe we're also getting some energy crashes. But it doesn't just have to be I have high testosterone. It could be a receptor sensitivity.
Yeah. And now we want to be looking at the zinc and copper balance, right? And this is where men with hair thinning, the first thing I think is 5-ADHT conversion and how they're in the metabolic processes of it.
Then we're going into hormonal transitions. Another one a lot of people understand. It's like postpartum. When you're postpartum and you get all the thinning at the temples, all those little baby hairs start falling out. Or perimenopause, like we talked, a lot of people get worried about coming off of birth control off the pill and having hair shedding. I'm actually launching later this month an entire course on post-birth control. So if you're in that group, watch out on my socials because March 24th, we're coming out with that.
Yeah, go with caution. She gets a bit heated on that
I know.
topic.
I'm going to have to really rein myself in. I haven't recorded the videos yet. I'm recording them next week. So I got to rein it down.
Slow it down. I'll check. Tell me when you're recording and I'll
let Cris preview them first.
How we doing?
She's going to have to preview them. Okay, but let's talk about why this happens. Like, why do we see hormonal shifts impacting hair loss?
Because hormones are very interconnected to the receptors of your adrenaline, your norepinephrine, your cortisol. All of this is stress signaling. So again, if we cannot play out the stress, what happens? Well, insulin's really good. Insulin comes out and says, okay, too much cortisol, go. And just starts to suck stuff up. It does such a great job that it leaves us so depleted that we just want sugar. And this is a perpetual stress-like loop as well. So it's not just this. I mean, there's so many cofactors, right? I'm just trying to, break down more of the conversation that we've had before. The thing is it's about identifying it. We panic so much about the acne or so much about the hair loss or so much about the weight that we're not breathing through the information, right? We're like, oh, I have to go take this. I have to go take that. Most recently, I tried a supplement. It was for skin and nails and everything. It was lovely. It was really great. I also took some B12 and B9, but I'm not taking this random pseudo, biohacking. I have thyroid. I know I needed this. So it's the cofactors. So there's not always just one supplement that's just going to be like, oh, look at me, I'm growing my hair back now. You're going to have balanced supplementation. You're going to have a balanced nutritional plan. You're going to have a balanced rest plan, a motion and movement plan that's conducive. If we don't individualize those plans, then what?
Every person's body is different. It's not every single person has the exact same stressors and hormonal imbalances and mineral deficiencies. So it's hard to really say, hey, everyone needs to take X supplements. Because just for example, looking at hair loss because of hormones, is it that your estrogen has dropped, right? Because estrogen really helps to keep your hair in that growth phase. So when your estrogen starts to decline from postpartum, when we get that big estrogen crash coming off of the pill, perimenopause, when this declines, the hair cycles are going to speed up. So we're going to see that shedding a little bit more. Or is it those androgens like the DHT that we talked about and they're shrinking the follicle, right? They're shortening the growth phase. They're causing your hair to be finer, weaker regrowth. So is it that we have that, like you said, Cris, the increased 5-alpha reductase activity, like that conversion to the DHT? Is it progesterone? Because if our progesterone is breaking down, well, guess what? Our progesterones are our calming hormone. It calms our nervous system. It helps counterbalance the excess androgens. So if our progesterone is dropping, there can be, higher androgen impacts, more stress sensitivity, and increased shedding. But this is why there can't just be that one supplement, because you can see how it's going to be dependent on your hormones. It's going to be dependent on your minerals. It's going to be so dependent.
Yeah. Verbiage can kind of be the same, yes? Because logic is logic. What happens is, if you do not look at the person as an isolated case, I mean, you can still use all the knowledge, right? Don't get me wrong. Then we missed the opportunity to listen. So my advice to everybody is start to listen to yourself. Start to check in with yourself. Start to appreciate the fact that, hey, thanks for this message. Thanks for the opportunity. I know it sounds terrible when we get the hair loss. Now you have enough check-ins. Am I eating enough? Do I have enough protein? If I don't know Katie, if they don't know if they have enough protein, I'm pretty sure you have a resource, yes?
Yes. I have a resource on literally everything. The best resource for the protein is going to be the mini course I popped out last month, which is Clear Skin in 30 Days. It breaks down how to properly make sure you're getting protein, the sources, how to properly track it. It talks about your blood sugar. It's all about digestion, making sure you're breaking that protein down. So if you haven't checked out Clear Skin in 30 Days, I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. See, so these are the things. It's easy to come by the information when the vessel is true, when the vessel understands it, right? So if you can look for consolidated information, of course, there's ChatGPT that you could go ask too. Just again, it's all about those prompts. Oh my gosh, you even have something for that too, don't you?
I do. Cris, I've been all over here making all this stuff. My Clear Skin coach, which is, I'm so proud of this Clear Skin coach.
I'm impressed.
And that's a lot I was actually nervous to show Cris because she's not a fan of AI. And I was like, Cris, look, I built out this custom ChatGPT that is our brain. Ask it all the questions that you want. I dare you, put some holes in this. And she's like, I actually really like this. It's doing a good job. So I that's on the website as well if you want to go check it out, the Clear Skin Coach.
It is. And that's the stuff, right? So it's like, start putting tools in your basket to help you discern the information you're collecting. Mm-hmm. Most often we can't discern it. That's why it's like, yeah, I needed this. How do I do it? Mm-hmm. Right? Break down the information. You're not a nutritionist. We might not be doctors, or we don't have, not like doctors have a lot of nutrition. I shouldn't say that. 7 hours. But sorry to the doctors listening. But it's true, right? Maybe 10 now. So these are the things, is really look at how we can eat our minerals, because we have to. How it's not just topical all the time. Now, there is, I'm not going to endorse it because whatever, but there is oils. Please don't use Amazon, because I'm telling you, they are knockoffs. I promise you. I belong to enough organizations to know this. But there are, like rosemary infusions, or there's different types, and I really want, even like, you can do DYO, a DYO. What DIY? Is that? I know, but what's DYO?
I don't know.
Do your own. Yes, Queen. I got that. Okay, I'm taking a D. Okay, we're gonna DYO.
Sure, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, we're gonna DYO. There's flaxseed masks. There's different things we can do, right? So why do we do those hair topicals? Why do we use? It's because it gives us the presence that we're doing something more.
Yeah. Adding some rosemary to your shampoo, letting it sit on the scalp. That's what I do with my husband.
Super sexy. I love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are lots of little tiny things that we can do so that we feel like we're doing something, because half of it is we feel like we're not doing enough.
But when it comes down to, before we finish up the episode, like what can we be focusing on? So how to kind of summarize all of this is, like I've talked about a lot, especially on social media, is stabilize your foundations. Like making sure you're eating enough. We're not skipping our meals. We're getting enough calories in the day. We're prioritizing sleep. We're including stress reduction where we can. We can't get rid of stressors, but if we can, get a little bit of breath work in there. Maybe we need to be making sure we're actually breaking our food down and digesting our proteins well. So we need a little bit of digestive support in there. Can we be eating, our iron-rich foods alongside vitamin C-rich foods? Because those two together can help increase absorption in the body.
We can remove their phytates. They're going to have to research that because we don't have enough time for that.
We don't have time for phytates.
But we watch how the amount of phytates we're eating with our iron-rich foods if we already have low iron. Like, there's a lot going on here, everyone. A lot.
Increase your protein intake. We've talked about this. Really making sure, even like the 120 to 140 grams a day, but making sure you're breaking it down. Don't just increase your protein and not be breaking it down properly. Maybe some people need to be adding a little bit of collagen, and maybe we want to be supporting thyroid if we need it with selenium-rich foods like our lovely Brazil nuts. Maybe we are balancing our blood sugar. We are working on our cortisol, our stress, our nervous system. We're sleeping. We're not under training. Like, as you can see, this isn't about just doing one thing. It's about stacking these different habits and really weaving it into your life. And like I said, if you're like super overwhelmed, just go and grab Clear Skin in 30 days. It's like $47 and it talks about how to do all of this in 30 days in a really easy way. And then, testing. If there is testing that people want to do, because we know people are really, if they have hair loss, they're really cautious, like apprehensive to do a hair trace mineral analysis. You can absolutely still do them. They're great to see where our minerals are. But we'll often get our clients to do a full blood panel that we send them to request from their doctor, alongside a Dutch test, so we can be looking at all of your different hormones. And if that's something that you want to check out, I'll put that in the show notes as well.
We can also do an HMA through nail collection.
Oh, the nail. I know you hate doing the nail collection though.
No, I don't hate doing the nail collection. I just love, even if people are having thinning hair, the thing I say is, it is worth it. Collect the data as to if your hair is impaired. That's a communicator. Collect the data from the injured area. Please. I know we don't love it. I get it. However, you don't need a whole ton.
All right. I think this might be an episode you're going to want to go back and listen to again, possibly. You have any questions, you know where to find me. My DMs are always open. Check the show notes because I have a ton of resources down there for you guys as well. And we'll see you next week on the next Keep It Clear.